A news article just broke yesterday on dailymail.com about former military commander Robert Salas, who slammed the Pentagon officials of the UAP Task Force for denying that they had knowledge of the story that Congressman Michael Gallagher had brought up during the hearing about launch code missiles being deactivated over several hours while a UFO was spotted flying around above the launch facility. This was back in 1967, of course, but was there denial out of legitimate ignorance, or was it a top secret cover-up? Please do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell by the subscribe button. I'll continue to make videos like this just for you. These are my real life stories of the impossible. Now, after noticing Congressman Gallagher's remark and disbelief that they didn't have any knowledge of this story, I spoke yesterday about how Gallagher suddenly felt like maybe he was the only UFO nerd in the room who knew about the history of these sightings, as these guys sat looking oblivious to anything about this incident, which apparently the congressman was at some point maybe briefed by ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, unless he really is a UFO nerd. I mean, that could be true too. But as he sat there trying to clarify to the committee saying, I'm not a UFO expert, he obviously was caught, just then dropping serious knowledge on the UFO experts. Now, the congressman was actually referring to the Malmstrom Air-force base incident in Montana in 1967. And the exact story is that Underground Launch Facility Commander Robert Salas was on duty there at the time on March 16th at 8:30 a.m. when he received a call from Echo Flight Launch Control Center from both the flight security controller at the Launch Control Center and an on-duty airman who said that they had both seen what looked to be more than one bright star zigzagging across the sky and seeming to get closer. And so, not taking the call seriously, he just said, well, call me if it gets any closer. But then minutes later, they call him and they said, there's one hovering near the front gate. So they literally say, quote, it's a UFO. It's just sitting there. We're all looking at it. What do you want us to do? They described that it's glowing red. It's a saucer shape. But then before Salas could offer any help, suddenly one of the guys got injured by it and they get cut off. Now, at this point, Salas goes to his commanding officer, Lieutenant Fred Maywald, who was on a scheduled sleep period, and woke him up to tell him about it. While he's briefing Maywald on it, they hear the first klaxon sound off, indicating that one of their missiles had become inactive, which immediately woke Maywald up at the moment. So at this point, suddenly, one by one, several more alarms go off within seconds, and suddenly they lost like up to 8 missiles to a no-go condition, which they see. The story alleges up to 10 of their missiles became inoperable for over a day just after this mysterious UFO sighting, in which one of the crafts was literally within touching distance, and one of the men even got injured by it. My friend John B. Alexander, who's a retired Army colonel, actually interviewed many of these men in his book, UFOs, Myths, Conspiracies, Realities, and he talks to these guys, and he says that these guys are really highly credible individuals. These guys are, all the guys that he interviewed still say and allege the same story took place. So at least this raises a concern for being a national security threat, you have to imagine, especially since this wasn't a sighting and even though nobody really got affected, it is kind of interesting. There was even a skeptical scientific study done on the odds of this occurring and how it actually could happen. So I'll talk to you all about that tomorrow. Meanwhile, go to my website at themanwhoknows.tv, subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll get a free gift. Peace.